failing. Failing, failing, failing. Wow, that's such a powerful word. So I struggled with how to start this talk because I want you to really get the lesson around failure and how you can switch your mindset out of it. So I want to just first of all talk about a couple of comparisons. We know some very famous people in history who have failed millions of times. One is Edison. He failed 10,000 times in his attempts to create a light bulb, and Dyson failed 5,126 times when he was attempting to invent a bagless vacuum cleaner. And you might be one of those people who feel that your divorce is an epic failure in your life, or you might be one of those people who feel that all of the breakup relationships that you've had over the years can classify you as an epic failure. But here's the thing. Just because you failed at this part in your life doesn't mean you're a complete failure. It means you have the opportunity to do better. It means you have the opportunity for a do-over. That's what failure means. So, look, I talk to a lot of people and I see two camps of people that there's two attitudes towards failure. The first camp, I call them the believers, not the believers, the believers. And they're great at taking what happened to them and then making it into something that means something more, that making it into something that's like a profound statement about their lives. These are the people who will go through life thinking that they have absolutely no control whatsoever. They sort of submit to a higher power, and over their lives, every major thing that happens is all about someone else's control. And they say things like, you'll hear them say like, well, I guess it wasn't meant to get that job anyway. And I know we say this. I've said it many times. Or they might say, I guess this is my cross to bear. Perhaps, you haven't had any luck with finding your true soulmate, and you might think to yourself, well, then this is just the way it is. And my favorite quote is, I made my bed, so now I have to lay in it. That's my favorite quote from the believers. And they often refer to family, they defer to like family behavior, as if they were born into this certain patterning. And now they just have to live with it. And they say things like, I was born that way. And they stand in these beliefs as if they were like stuck in mud and they can't get out. And they just don't even try because this is just the way they are. And then they just become resigned to the idea that nothing can change. And they end up creating a life exactly as they believe they've defined it. And they generally stay in their little box of maybe unlucky in love or unworthy of success or untalented at figuring it out. And these are just things that they might be saying to themselves. And they convince themselves that they shouldn't even try to figure it out. Because why bother? They're programmed a certain way, or that's, their experiences and failure has just proven time and time again that they're not going to ever succeed. So why even bother? And it's like a dead end to them at every turn of their lives. They just are in fear. And like I said, they stay in their small little box, and this is the way it's going to be. And they don't even try for a better life. That's the first camp of people. The second camp are the challengers, and these are the people that don't take no for an answer. Somewhere along the way in their lives, they might have observed that asking questions and getting more information about a dilemma or something that happened in their lives resulted in a different answer or a different perspective. And that helped them approach the problem and all future problems from a different angle. And then they understand that they get a more desirable answer every time they ask questions. So they challenge the status quo. They challenge um, the norm or what's happening in their sphere. They challenge it if it doesn't feel right. So what's amazing is that with the challenger, they find their path to more happiness. These are the people who fail a lot and then they don't necessarily hold on to the failure. They challenge their minds, which really is what we're talking about here because it's the mind that tells us these things. So they challenge their minds, and by doing that, they create new neural pathways. We create new ways of thinking every time we challenge something that's difficult or uncomfortable. You know that saying, do the one thing that you're fearful of every single day. That's how we change our patterning. That's how we change our thoughts around failure. So as a result, the challenger will always have a more favorable outcome because the most important part of their challenging behavior is that they don't take their failure as a grand overarching theme for their lives. They take a failure as a no, and then they ask how they can do it better. They never give up because they know that their lives mean more. So here's some more examples. Meryl Streep, you might know the story about Meryl Streep. She was auditioning for King Kong, and she walked into Dino De Laurentiis' senior's office, and he basically told her she was too ugly to be into King Kong. And although that hurt, she didn't let it define herself in her acting life, because if she decided that she was just too ugly to act, perhaps she would never have continued. She knew in her own abilities, she trusted that that was just his opinion, and she continued to work on becoming the most amazing actress of all time. And so she challenged that. And if you understand the life of an actor, wow, if we could all just kind of be an actor for one day, that would give us so much resilience because they get no's all the time. They are rejected constantly. And what helps them overcome it is if they have support. They usually have acting coaches. They usually have mentors who teach them the ropes, who help dismantle the negative self-talk that they have around their ability. They keep encouraging them. And that's so key when we are dealing with these challenges and these failures in our lives. Another example are the Williams sisters, so Serena and Venus Williams. So typically not tennis athletes. They were put into a culture of, white, well-off, wealthy, young people who were going into tennis. You never really saw a Black person succeed in any way in tennis, and that really wasn't part of their world. However, they had an amazing father who pushed them through, and although throughout their whole career they had so many setbacks, they had so many failures, they were criticized and diminished over and over, and like on a global level. It wasn't even just on a personal level, but they pushed through, and they struggled, pushed through all the racism, pushed through all the failures, and Serena is known as the, what is she at? She's got the open era record for Grand Slam single titles in tennis of all time between males and females. So they failed, but they didn't become failures. Do you see the difference? And in fact, I want to give you this great rule that I was given years ago by my coach. And the philosophy is to fail fast. Don't dwell on the failure. Fail fast, learn from the lessons, and move on. That's the one thing that I can give you today. Fail fast, fail fast, fail fast. Write it everywhere. Fail fast. It's, the most important thing too is to have someone who supports you around your failures and and constantly encourages you to learn and continue to work on it and be better. Because really, that's what failure is. We can't succeed unless we fail. We know that. This is the flip of the coin. You have to have failures in order to succeed. So if you really, truly are committed to succeeding in your love life and succeeding in your life, period, you have to fail. That is part of it. But it doesn't mean you're a failure at life. It simply means you failed with this relationship. To it. So I want you to, if you identified with the believers and you feel that that's what you're doing, I want to challenge you to become a challenger and challenge your thinking. Challenge those voices and those titles you're giving yourself around failure, because failure is inevitable, but it doesn't have to be critical. It doesn't have to crush you. It is your opportunity to do better. It's an opportunity to have a look at the failure, the breakdown of your marriage or relationship, and see what needs to be fixed, see what happened, what you did that didn't work, what you did that did work. And another thing I want to give to you right now is every time you fail at something, I want you to encourage yourself and give yourself pats on the backs for failing. Years ago, I did some acting myself, and the acting coach was amazing. Every time we failed, she'd go, "Way to go, you failed, nice job," because that's the only way that we were going to learn and get better. And what it did was, instead of diminishing us and instead of making us feel badly about ourselves, it helped us step up to do the next exercise. And this is what I want to give for you today. Don't let your failure define your life. Don't let your failure make you feel like you are a failure at everything. Your failed relationship is one aspect of your life, and it's an opportunity to grow, to learn, and to move forward, and to find someone better, someone more worthy, somebody who is more aligned with the type of love that you want. So take your failures. Give yourself a pat on the back for failing, because it's amazing. You have this amazing opportunity now to do better and really work on having the best love life that you can ever have. So yay for failures. You're not a failure. You failed. That's all. So go out and fail today. Give yourself a pat on the back every time you fail. Say nice job and get on with it. Learn from it and do better next time. So fail fast. Say nice job, say way to go, and continue to learn your lessons around your relationships. And I'll see you next time. Take care. Way to go.